Hey everyone, welcome to another What's News Tech Update. In today's episode, we'll be talking about a company that's trying to reinvent the wheel by reinventing the tire. Not my words, it's theirs. Another company that's trying to take on Google search and make a completely new search engine. China and Apple facing off and China pulling off an absolute boss move. And Russians trying to make the most humanoid Android possible. This and a couple of other things in today's episode. As always, we have one very special thing at the end of it, just a little extra nugget that I like to add. So for those of you who stick to the end, there's a fun little piece for you as well. Let's get into it. In our first story, we talk about a company called the Smart Tire Company. This is a company that worked with NASA to make tires that were used on their Mars rover. These tires are not made out of rubber, no, they're made out of a special alloy of nickel and titanium called nitinol. Nitinol is a smart memory alloy, which means under duress, it changes shape. That is to say, if stress is applied, it changes shape. But when the stress is removed, it snaps back to its original shape perfectly. Unlike rubber, which might show some warping or wearing, this works beautifully for shapes that need to go back to their original shape, like tires. And given that the proof of concept has been put to test on Mars, they are now turning their sights to Earth. They plan to make tires for cars and motorbikes and other land-based vehicles. But for now, they've announced their new bicycle called Metal. Metal is a bicycle that uses nitinol for tires instead of your standard pneumatic rubber tires. Both front and rear tires are made out of a mesh-like nitinol structure. The company claims that this eliminates the need to worry about flat tires completely. Bear in mind that this is just a prototype. The end product will be covered in some sort of poly rubber material, giving it a more familiar form, but instead of being filled with air, it'll be reinforced with a structure of nitinol, thereby doing the same thing that air used to do. In the company's own words, it'll be the coolest tire that you will ever have that's been made by NASA. I'll link the website down below for you to go check it out yourself. In our next piece of news, we talk about Apple and China. Now, a couple of tech news updates back, we talked about Apple's new iOS and a particular feature they're rolling out that was in favor of your data privacy. With iOS 14 and above, they were rolling out a feature that allows you to opt in or opt out of third-party data tracking. Basically, when you installed an app, you get a notification that says, do you want third-party data tracking enabled or not? And the choice is yours. So apps like Facebook will or will not be able to track you when you're not using their apps, based on your preference. Now, Facebook and Spotify and a whole bunch of other companies made a huge hue and cry about this because they do depend on this sort of data tracking for revenue. Basically, they sell your data and they run personalized ads and they make money off it, thereby giving you so-called free services. Now, Chinese companies and China, for the most part, said nothing about it, didn't make a hue and cry about it, but instead pulled off an absolute boss move. See, Apple's infrastructure has something called an IDFA, which stores your personal data and either allows it to be shared or not. So China has come out with something called the CAID, which does basically the same thing and completely circumvents Apple's IDFA. And they're making this available to any app that wants it. So, as you'd expect, already Tencent and ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, have already started testing this CAID system. And as of the time of recording of this video, they haven't responded to any comments to any news websites, but one can expect them to roll this out in the future to get around those pesky data privacy focused measures. Now, it can be said that Apple can easily find out which apps are using the CAID and then ban those apps, but given that Apple has to maintain a presence in China, it is conceivable that they may not elect to do that, or they may elect to enforce it only outside of China on those apps or not on those apps at all. It remains to be seen how they do this, but whatever little power they had over this data has definitely been diminished by this move. And while we're on the subject of China, another little tidbit of news, the Chinese have limited use of Tesla automobiles at its military bases because they're worried about Teslas having too many cameras around them and being used as literal spy vehicles. Elon Musk has in turn commented that this is simply not the case, that they take privacy issues very seriously, but given that China loves collecting personal data, it's understandable that they would be paranoid about something like this. Moving over to Russia, there's a town called Vladivostok in Russia with a little company called Promobots. This company is dedicated itself to making the most human-like androids possible. We're talking about robots that look like human and feel like humans. They're going so far as to 3D printing a special polymer-based skin. They use their own manufactured eyeballs. They even insert hair into eyebrows and eyelashes and so on, trying to make it as realistic and as friendly as possible, as you can see from these images. Now that's only one arm of the company. Another arm of the company is dedicating itself to creating hardware and software designed to make Android movements as human as possible. And they're not the only ones to do so. Now, if you remember back in 2016, there was a robot called Sophia released in Hong Kong that made the waves and went completely viral on the internet. You can look it up yourself if you like. And Sophia was made by a company called Hanson Robotics, also based out of Hong Kong. They say that by the end of this year, they will be releasing 4 robots, one of which is Sophia, and they see a great future in human-robot interactions, especially post-pandemic. They say that in future scenarios where people will be confined to their homes, they will turn to their robot friends for company, and I really hope that is not the future that we're going towards. Anyway, shifting our focus back to reinventing things, let's talk about Neeva. Neeva is a company that's being started up down the road from Google by 2 of its ex-employees, and it aims to reinvent a search engine. Well, not quite reinvent it, but create a search engine for you with 2 premises. One being they will value your personal data and not sell it. 2, that they will be completely transparent about how they use your data. Now they plan to achieve the first by a subscription fee. They want to charge you a subscription fee so that you can use their search results, which will collect your data. By the way, they're very clear about that because that's the only way to give relevant contextualized search results that we all know and love. But they plan not to sell it to anyone because you're giving them a subscription fee. Now the second part, they've already demonstrated by giving a laundry list of how they're going to use your data on their website, and I'll link that website down below for you to go check it out yourself. But I'm really curious about this point because on the one hand, I'm torn that data privacy is a very important thing. But on the other hand, do we really find the ads on Google search to be so intrusive that we would pay a subscription fee for a search service? Will it be that different from a normal Google search experience if I paid for it and I wasn't bombarded with ads? I know this sounds like the usual YouTuber grab for comments down below, but I am interested in having this conversation. Would you pay a couple of dollars a month, for example, for a search service that doesn't sell your data and doesn't send you personalized ads on your search results or in its ecosystem? I think that I might end up paying maybe a couple of dollars if there is a significant difference, but I don't know that I would pay any more than that because personally, when I use Google search results, it's not that much of a deal. I just scroll past the ads and go for the normal search results. However, if this comes down to no personalized ads in an entire ecosystem, like maybe no personalized ads across its various other services that it might come up with in the future, then maybe this subscription fee is not such a bad idea. Again, let me know in the comments down below. Let's have this discussion. I think it's fascinating. I will leave a link to Neeva down below so you can check out their website and read about them yourself. And now finally, for those of you who've stayed until the very end of the video, a fun little nugget. Now, most of us have been stuck in Zoom calls over the last year, either at work or with family. Maybe you don't want to spend quite as much time on Zoom. Well, there's a solution for you. Zoom Escape is an app that you can install that will make it seem like there's a variety of background noises that will basically annoy people into ending the Zoom call. It can do a number of things, and I found this really interesting. One of the things it can do is make it so it looks like a bad connection that will make your voice choppy and digitized and robotic. But it can also simulate sounds of a baby crying in the back, or if you don't have baby, construction work and a myriad of other things. Personally, I think this man deserves a medal for his service to humanity. I just thought it would be a fun little bit of information that I came across that would be fun to share with you. Now, if you want to check out some of our other videos, we've got some tutorials coming up on how to buy and sell NFTs, how to set up your crypto trading account, and so on. And also, of course, tech-focused pieces like mixed reality and so on. For those of you who stuck it to the very end, thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Stay colorful.